Welcome to the muted cast. We're all muted. You can't hear
No,
us.
you can hear us. Hi, welcome to Roundabout Cast episode 18, I think.
We're legal now.
Yeah, we're legal for adultery things. I'm your podcast host, Willer.
I am Bradley, one of the 7 warlords of the Roundabout cast.
Hi, I'm Joe. First lieutenant trombone player, fourth from the left.
It's very prestigious.
Joe, you could have easily gone something One Piece related, like you
No,
know.
no, I like Joe's better.
Okay, yep.
I
I,
thought the one.
I see Joe every time he plays. It's great. Hi. Yeah. Let's get into it this week. We got a lot to talk about. It's gonna be an exciting week. Bradley's actually gonna lead us off with little something from his childhood cartoon wheelhouse.
Yeah, it is a show called Miraculous Ladybug, which I'm not sure when it first started coming out. I think maybe around like 2015 or something. And the reason I the reason I know about the show is one day on Netflix, my roommates and I in college were just like, what if we watched this show? And then we watched the first episode, and then like 12 hours later, we had watched like all of the 2 seasons that were available, and we're like, holy shit, that was actually really good. And I found out that it's much less of a niche thing than I thought it would be. It has a pretty huge following online as of right now. And so essentially what it is, I guess you would call it a superhero romantic comedy.
Huh.
And it's a really interesting dynamic where there are 2 school students, Marinette and Adrian. And these 2 students also happen to be superheroes, Ladybug and Cat Noir. And the interesting dynamic for the show comes from the fact that, first of all, neither of these 2 know their secret identities. So they don't know that they go to school together or anything like that. So Marinette, in her civilian identity, is in love with Adrian, the civilian identity. But whenever they're superheroes, Cat Noir, which is Adrian as a superhero, is in love with Ladybug, which is Marinette as a superhero. And so it's funny because whenever they're at school, Marinette is fawning over Adrian. But whenever she is Ladybug, the superhero, she thinks Cat Noir is like a huge dweeb. She hates him. He's annoying. And then on the other way around, Adrian just thinks of Marinette like, oh, she's just such a good friend. I love her friendship. And so the show is very...
So hold on, she likes him, but he's friend zoning her.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But then whenever they're in their superhero identities, it's the other way around.
Cool.
And the show's very lighthearted, and one thing I really appreciate is that basically when choosing powers for the villains that they go up against, they try to prioritize creating situations that will give you either really romantic moments or just really awkward moments between the 2, because they're the focus of the show. Like, I guess like a really obvious example would be one where the villain makes people evil, and to make them not evil anymore, they have to have like a true love's kiss. So one of the 2 gets evil, and then they have their first kiss in the show, which at that moment you're like, holy shit. It really is a show that just kind of makes you freak out if you're into romantic stories like that.
One of the
Actual kids show, because this seems like more like teen drama kind of things.
Like... I think the show is obviously targeted toward younger kids, but
really,
I think the show is obviously targeted toward kids, but I've never met a kid who knows the show exists, and I know a ton of adults who watch it.
Do they ever do a scenario where it's like, oh, help me, cat boy, I'm in bondage, and you gotta like break me out?
The show is not. It doesn't do the Totally Spies thing.
Okay.
Growing fetish in young people.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
The thing I think the thing that most impresses me is about the show is that there's kind of this principle of writing superhero stories that I heard from I think it was some interview of the writers of kind of the first wave of MCU movies where they said they think what was giving their movies more success than maybe other superhero movies at the time or before that was that when you're writing a superhero story, you should try to use superheroes as a setting rather than a genre. And like I would consider superhero a genre, but you want to write your story as if the genre is not just superhero and nothing else.
That's ironic because so many MCU movies are genre movies, and then you get like your occasional like Winter Soldier that's kind of like deviating.
And I think that was kind of their philosophy more towards the earlier parts of the MCU, where I think like specific examples he cited was like for Guardians of the Galaxy, for example, they specifically took inspiration from like famous space operas. And so I think that kind of philosophy is like most apparent in Ladybug, where it is first and foremost a romantic comedy, and a lot of the situations and character beats they do could still be done if like superheroes and supervillains were not even on the table. I think it's done really well, and I guess aside from that, it's just also a really fun blend where of like superheroes and the magical girl genre, because it's obviously inspired by Sailor Moon. They have the transformation sequences and they have their little animal familiars.
I was about to say, like, I feel like the relationship between the Cat Noir and Miraculous Ladybug is just Tuxedo Mask and Sailor Moon.
It's very similar. But yeah, I think it's a really fun show for if you like that kind of thing. But I mean, I wouldn't probably recommend it to either of you two. But I don't know, I enjoy it. That is Miraculous Ladybug.
So my question is, what's the animation quality of? Because it doesn't look that fantastic from what I've seen.
Yeah. So for people who haven't seen it, it's a 3D animated show, which, when I first saw it, I was immediately put in mind of like, oh, 3D animated shows like Jimmy Neutron. They kind of look shitty. And I will say, season 1 of this show, I don't think it looks that great. I do think it is probably the best looking 3D animated show I may have seen. I don't know if I've seen that many. It doesn't look that great season 1. Season 2 and 3, it looks really awesome. They try to do more creative things with the animation. I think it looks pretty good.
You heard it here first. This show looks better than Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
That's the thing, is I ashamedly never watched it. So
I have a couple of questions. How old is Ladybug and Cat Lad?
I think as of right now they're both 16. So
Okay.
I think it definitely is like a younger kid to teen show.
Okay.
Is this one French, by the way? Because do you know,
Yes.
Bradley? Is it?
It is a French show, which, by the way, I found out that the French actually make bomb-ass cartoons.
What's another French bomb-ass cartoon?
Let's look at some French cartoons. I saw clips of like another one on YouTube, and I was like, wow, they have some good animation. Let's see.
I have a secondary question.
Okay.
Where does this air? Is it a Netflix exclusive, or is it like on Cartoon Network and then it's on Netflix as well? Or
In America, it's exclusively on Netflix.
interesting, unique little show here.
Mm-hmm.
I really like it. I probably wouldn't recommend it to you guys because it's definitely it is a very just like bubbly, extremely happy, very cute show.
Let's say what it is. This is Bradley bait. Like,
Yeah, it is.
It's
it's
superheroes and cute girls.
It's a comedic superhero comedy. I don't know. I just love it.
Now, is this the opposite of Worm? Is this Nego Worm?
I just don't think it. I wouldn't say it's similar or opposite. I just think it's not even the same thing.
Man, see, I think my whole life, superheroes is a really lame setting for me. Like, Worm started off at like a -2, and it had to work its way up.
Yeah.
That's where we're sitting at. And the MCU is its special thing because it just does things a little.
Willard doesn't like the guys with powers wearing funny costumes. He likes JoJo's where people wear
funny costumes,
and have powers.
But then they're like archaeologists and students and
Well,
Jotaro.
superheroes are that too.
Superheroes are that too.
No, they're not. They're fucking lame as shit.
He's just a weeb. He likes the Japanese ones.
I'm not a weeb.
He likes the Japanese ones.
I'm not a weeb. Comics are bad, and you guys know this. They're written by like 70 people, and they have the dumbest plot lines.
But he likes the Japanese. They're written by like 1 or 2 people with 70 people editing them.
Whatever. You know. There's a comic where fucking the Punisher changed his body with Luke Cage, and then he's like, "Oh, this is what it's like to be black," and that's the comic, and it goes weird places, and I'm not. That's a real thing. So just next time,
I'm
like...
not. But lollies, Willer. That's my.
You know what? That's a excellent counter argument.
Anyway, Miraculous Ladybug. I really like it.
Good shit.
That's it.
Watch it. Watch it on Netflix.